Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most underrated sci-fi thrillers you've probably never heard of, Missions, 2017. Imagine this. The first human crew is on its way to Mars, not to conquer it, not to colonize it, but to uncover a truth that no one was prepared for. This isn't your typical high-octane space drama. It's slow, mysterious, and psychological, the kind of story that pulls you in with tension rather than spectacle. The series opens with the Ulysses mission, Europe's ambitious attempt to send humans to the Red Planet. It's a multinational crew, handpicked and tightly monitored. But there's something different about this mission. It's not just a scientific endeavor. There's money involved, serious money. The whole thing is privately funded by a tech billionaire with his own agenda, and that already hints that we're not going to Mars just for exploration. From the first few scenes, you can sense that this journey isn't going to be smooth. The ship is advanced, the crew is experienced, but the dynamics are fragile. One of the key characters, Jean Renoir, is a psychologist brought along not just for mental health support, but to help the team deal with the psychological unknowns of space travel. Jean is calm, insightful, and curious, but as things unravel, she becomes central to understanding the bigger mystery. Before the crew even lands, there are signals, subtle red flags, system malfunctions, strange data, emotional strain among the team, but they push forward, confident in their mission. Then, just before landing, they receive a chilling update. The Americans, who had launched a mission in secret, have already landed, and they're not responding. This is where Missions takes a sharp turn, from routine space travel to something far more suspenseful. The question isn't just, what's on Mars? It's, who got there first, and why are they silent? The year is 2027. Europe has launched its most ambitious mission yet, Ulysses, the first manned journey to Mars. The spacecraft slices through the void of space, carrying a carefully selected crew of scientists, engineers, and one woman whose role is unlike the others. Jean Renoir, a young psychologist, has been chosen not for her technical expertise, but for her insight into the human mind. Her task: keep the crew mentally stable on a journey where even the silence of space can become unbearable. At the heart of this mission is William Meyer, a billionaire whose name is synonymous with innovation. His wealth has funded this historic trip, and his presence looms large. The crew respects him, but they also fear the secrets he might be hiding. Ulysses isn't just a scientific venture. It's a power play, a statement to the world, and perhaps something more. Days blur into weeks. Inside the spacecraft, isolation begins to tighten its grip. Conversations grow shorter. Smiles fade. Jean notices the subtle changes, the nervous glances, the restless sleep cycles, the way some of them avoid eye contact altogether. Even their dreams are changing. Something isn't right, but the crew pushes forward, committed to reaching their destination. Then, a shockwave of news rips through their routine. The Americans have launched their own mission, faster, more advanced, and somehow, they've beaten Ulysses to Mars. Tension mounts. Pride clashes with fear. The crew stares out into the black, wondering what awaits them. Jean senses the shift before anyone else. The mission is no longer just about discovery. It's about survival, because if another team is already on Mars, the question isn't who will plant the flag first but who will make it back alive. Tensions begin to rise as the Ulysses spacecraft edges closer to Mars. What was once a mission defined by international cooperation and scientific ambition slowly begins to unravel from within. Every member of the crew is highly skilled, but none are immune to the growing sense of unease. The confined space, the weight of expectations, and the looming unknown start to take their toll. Jean Renoir, the onboard psychologist, finds herself increasingly involved, not just in quiet sessions but in subtle interventions, trying to hold fraying tempers together. Communication delays with Earth make everything worse. A minor disagreement one day turns into a cold silence the next. Then, a distressing piece of news filters through. An American spacecraft, thought to be months behind, is already on Mars. How? The timeline doesn't make sense. It shakes the crew. Doubts creep in. Was this mission really first? Or has someone been playing them? Missions are meant to be calculated, predictable, but now, nothing seems certain. William Meyer, the eccentric billionaire behind Ulysses, demands answers. His impatience adds fuel to an already tense environment. The pilot, Simon, begins to second-guess maneuvers. Alessandra, the mission commander, feels her authority undermined by whispers and hidden fears. Jean tries to calm them all, but even she starts dreaming of red deserts and strange voices. Every technical glitch suddenly feels intentional. The systems seem off. Not broken, just strange. The sense of being watched, on a planet they haven't even landed on yet, creeps into conversations. It's not just paranoia, it's a prelude. Something is waiting for them out there. But before they even touch Martian soil, the real danger might already be inside their minds. As the spacecraft finally descends on the Martian surface, the crew of Ulysses is already stretched thin, mentally, emotionally, physically. What they expected to be a landmark in human achievement quickly becomes something else entirely. Their arrival isn't greeted with celebration or discovery. It's met with silence, an eerie, overwhelming silence. The American mission, which supposedly beat them to Mars, has gone dark. No signal, no signs of life, just the empty echo of static. They investigate, and that's when everything begins to unravel. Near an abandoned site, a figure appears, dressed not in a modern spacesuit, but in one from the Cold War era. The crew watches in disbelief. The man claims to be Vladimir Komarov, the Soviet cosmonaut who died in 1967 during the Soyuz 1 mission, a man whose body was burned beyond recognition upon re-entry, and yet here he stands, alive, speaking, calm. The crew is paralyzed. Logic and science start to fracture under the weight of the impossible. Gene, the mission's psychologist, tries to engage him. He speaks of time, of cycles, of a presence on Mars far older than any mission. His words aren't just strange, they carry knowledge no one outside Earth should possess. But there's more than words. Komarov shows them coordinates, places on Mars, that haven't been mapped or scanned by human technology. When the crew checks them, they find anomalies, structures buried beneath the red dust, suggesting an intelligence predating humanity. Suspicion spreads like wildfire. Is Komarov real? A clone? A trap? The team fractures between belief and denial. Trust begins to erode. What started as a scientific mission morphs into a psychological battleground, with Komarov at the center like a specter from another timeline. And somewhere beneath all of this, something is watching, something that doesn't want them to leave. Komarov's presence changes everything. The crew expected isolation, danger, even death, but not the impossible. Gene watches him closely. He's calm, precise, speaks with knowledge of a mission that never existed, from a time long gone. He shouldn't be here. He died in 1967 during a failed Soviet mission. So how is he standing on Mars, breathing, speaking perfect Russian, quoting flight logs no one else could know? Doubts spread fast. Some of the team think he's a hoax, an experiment gone wrong, or worse, a trap. Others believe he's a clone, a simulation, maybe a message from the planet itself. But Komarov has no answers. He only warns them, they were never meant to land here. Something ancient stirs beneath the Martian soil, and their presence has awakened it. The mission fractures. Alessandra, the lead scientist, is drawn to Komarov. She believes he's a sign, proof of a larger force, maybe something divine. But Simon, the commander, is more pragmatic. He wants to finish the mission and get everyone home. Between them stands Gene, watching the psychological toll unravel the crew. One night, the ship's systems crash. Lights flicker. Oxygen levels drop. In the chaos, someone vanishes. No blood, no trace, just gone. Tension morphs into paranoia. The crew can't agree if they're being watched, or if the planet itself is testing them. Komarov leads them to a cave, unmarked on any satellite scan. Inside, they find symbols, etched into the rock, glowing faintly. Ancient, not Martian, not human, something in between. Komarov kneels, reciting words like a prayer. The symbols react. Back at the base, a transmission cuts through static. It's in Komarov's voice, but he's right in front of them. Two of him. Reality begins to crack. The crew is forced to ask, is Mars a destination, or a mirror? Did they come here to explore, or to be judged? The moment truth starts to slip through the cracks, the mission's purpose begins to fracture. Gene feels it first, like a silent current pulling them toward something they can't see but can almost hear. Komarov, the man who should have been long dead, speaks with calm certainty, dropping fragments of knowledge they never expected. He knows things, about the crew, about the mission, even about events that haven't happened yet. His presence isn't just eerie, it's disturbing something deeper in them all. Granger, the mission commander, tries to hold the team together, but doubt creeps in like frost. Is Komarov a hallucination triggered by space trauma, a clone implanted by an unknown power, or worse, something they can't define with science? The crew splits, not physically, but philosophically. Half want to abort, to head home before they spiral into madness. The others are drawn in, curious, maybe obsessed, especially Gene. Meanwhile, equipment starts to fail, systems go dark without warning, messages to Earth bounce back in loops or go unanswered. They're cut off, not just from home, but from certainty. In the Martian silence, theories run wild. Komarov speaks of memory, of time repeating itself, of missions before theirs, that were buried. He warns them of a presence beneath the surface, something waiting, watching. The team unearths an object, metallic, buried under red dust. Not human, not old. As they dig further, reality bends. Visions, echoes, a sense that they were meant to be here, but not for exploration, for confrontation. Jean sees herself in memories that aren't hers. Granger begins questioning if they ever left Earth at all. And when one of the crew disappears, no trace, no warning, the line snaps. The mission is no longer about discovery. It's survival, and even that seems uncertain. As the dust settles on the Martian surface, and the chaos aboard the Ulysses mission reaches a fever pitch, the truth begins to unravel, but not in the way anyone expects. The man claiming to be Vladimir Komarov, a cosmonaut who supposedly died decades ago, walks the red planet like a ghost made flesh. He speaks in riddles, not just about Mars but about time, fate, and something far greater than human ambition. Jean, tasked with preserving the crew's mental health, now finds herself questioning her own grip on reality. Komarov tells her things he shouldn't know, about her childhood, her doubts, and even dreams she hasn't shared with anyone. The crew fractures under the weight of paranoia. Some believe Komarov is a clone, a sophisticated trick planted by rival space agencies. Others whisper that he's not human at all, something born from the planet, shaped to test them. Commander William Mayer is torn between duty and dread. The mission was meant to make history, but now it's making legends. As systems fail and crew members begin to disappear or break down, choices become desperate. The Ulysses was sent to explore, but exploration gives way to survival. In a haunting turn, Komarov leads Jean to a hidden structure buried beneath the sand, older than anything humans have ever built. Inside, symbols no one can decipher, lights that respond to thought, and the feeling, deep, inescapable, that they're not alone. It's no longer about discovering Mars. It's about Mars discovering them. The mission's end doesn't come with explosions or gunfire. It arrives quietly, in a moment where Jean stares into the void, and realizes the truth isn't meant to be known, only carried. The surviving crew return not as heroes, but as keepers of a secret too heavy for the Earth to hold.